Thank you, listeners. We're back with you on the hotline. I'm joining my colleague, Erica Virtue. She's a senior Gleaner writer. Her story is on the front page of the Gleaner this morning concerning the Haitian orphan missing disabled child taken for surgery at the Bustamante Children Hospital but not brought back to Mustard Seed facility. And the CEO says 10 caregivers have disappeared. Trying to understand this story. Erica Virtue, good to have you. Morning.
Good morning, Mrs. Fields. How are you?
Very, very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you and your listeners.
Yes. Explain this whole story for me. First, tell us what this organization, Haitian Children, is and who are the principals of Haiti-Children, rather.
Okay. So I only became aware of them when they came to Jamaica. When the children they were looking after in Haiti came to Jamaica. So the two names that I have are Susan Crabasher and Sheryl Ritchie.
Yes.
And they were quoted in Jamaica Observer, I think this week, Monday or so.
Yeah.
And they were making allegations against mustard seed communities. And those allegations range from maltreatment of the Haitians, lack of staff to look after them, and the denial of medical care by mustard seed communities to the Haitian children.
Right. How many children are there being housed at Mustard Seed?
Well, Jacob's Ladder. In St. Anne. 59 Haitian orphans came in March.
Yes.
And they were accompanied by 14 individuals, able-bodied individuals, who they were said to be caregivers. And that I'm not sure how many Jamaicans are there.
Yeah.
Because the focus is not so much on it, but it's a little community of housing. So and they have different names, I think, after individuals in the Bible. So you will have a community of James,
yes.
John, that kind of thing.
Yes.
The Haitians
this
were
is at Jacob's Ladder?
This is at Jacob's Ladder.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and you can imagine, it took a lot of mobilization to get space ready for the Haitians. And when I went there the day after they arrived in Jamaica, everybody admitted that it was not ideal, but it was much better than the situation, where they were existing in Haiti. And over time, the plan was to make the place better for them. But first of all, though, I want to say that when you make allegations like that about mustard seed communities with 45 years of service in Jamaica, and they have expanded to places in Africa and Latin America, and also with the caliber of some of the Jamaicans who are associated with the organization. You're speaking to people like Howard Mitchell, in Business Hall of Fame inductee, Celia Lynn, Father Gregory Ranky Soon, and other persons. You have to be either crazy or be very correct that stuff going on.
Right.
So, because of my the stories that I did initially, extensive with Father Garvin, spoke with Mrs. Lynn there as well, and Father Ranky Soon. I've kept in touch with, what's happening there.
And you visited Jacob's Ladder, you said?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am.
And so you saw about how many children were there before the 59 Haitian orphans were taken there?
Emily, I can't be exactly sure.
Yeah.
I can't be sure, but I think I can't be sure.
But they were up to
on the
capacity?
Yes. So at the Jamaican, with who those who were there,
Mm-hmm.
they were at capacity, and hence the reason for the new accommodation that was built to accommodate the Haitians.
Okay.
But even then,
Yes.
there was need for more, and everybody accepted that there was need for more.
Right.
So,
Which is the
yeah.
100,000 US that I see being quoted where Ms. Crabtree said she gave Mustard Seed US $100,000 when she came to help with the care for the children.
Okay, yes. So, as Father Garvin explained to me that that money was a contribution towards the build out of more capacity for them. It had nothing to do with food or any other thing that they would need.
Mm-hmm.
It was for that. And so the impression was being given that they had to pay Mustard Seed
Mm-hmm.
to for the accommodation. It is not so. It was a contribution towards the build out.
Yes.
that would have been expected as part of the accommodation.
So what do you know for how long the 59 orphans are expected to be here in Jamaica and be housed at Jacob's Ladder?
All right. So in March, when they came and when I spoke to Father Garvin, at that time there was no definitive decision as to how long they would be staying here, whether it would become a permanent fix or some midterm temporary down the line. But the focus of everyone at the time was to get the children to safety.
Mm-hmm.
And here, for the moment, Jamaica decided to accept them, and
Right.
so they come here, and then the processes would continue from them.
So
But
go ahead.
I was saying that it is interesting to note that the persons who came as caregivers, I was told yesterday that they didn't function as caregivers. They didn't want to do caregiving roles, and they flatly refused to do any of the shifts because of their condition.
Yes.
There were 24-hour shift care for them, and they didn't do any of that. They said they weren't doing any of that, but it was very clear, and the Mustard Seed people will confirm this, that they were taking instructions from outside of Mustard Seed community, and the situation there almost became untenable because they couldn't tell them to do anything, and hence Mustard Seed now had to employ an additional 23 persons to do stuff for the Haitians in particular that these caregivers were supposed to do.
So if they were not doing any
them.
caregiving work, what exactly were they doing?
They were there.
Just doing nothing.
Yeah.
And then we understand that 10 of them left.
Yes. So one morning I was told that a bus came there, and 10 of them went. But interesting about that 10 who went, initially 14 caregivers
Yes.
came. They were asked, Mustard Seed community was asked to assist with getting some more caregivers. They said no, because between them and what they were supposed to do and the Jamaicans, they could cope.
Mm-hmm.
Mustard Seed community was then asked to get to take two other disabled children. They said, okay, that is what they're doing. So they took two more disabled children. So it would bring, they agreed to take two more disabled children, so that would bring to 61.
Mm-hmm.
It turned out that neither of the two was disabled. They were able-bodied persons.
What?
And one of that two is among the 10 who are now missing.
Among the 10 caregivers.
Right. And I'm using caregivers
In quotes, yes.
Yeah, in quotes here. All right. So 6 now remain there, including one of the two
Yes.
that came last.
Right.
Yeah.
And that other one you said is not disabled.
Neither
of the two is.
Two, yeah, is disabled. So,
but do you know the conditions upon which they were granted entry into Jamaica, and whether there is any breach in terms at the time they were given? Did you get the chance to go in depth in that at all?
No. So I was desperately trying to get immigration and Ministry of Labor people yesterday. Well, who could confirm on the record?
Yes.
Because some elements of my story, it was
yes.
right. So I didn't get that, but what I know is that they were given 3 months in Jamaica. These are the caregivers now, and that expired yesterday. So as of today,
yes,
they have no legal standing in the country. Immigration officials are aware of that situation, I'm told.
Yes.
And I don't know if it means that they would be looking for them, but they are aware of the situation.
Is it your...
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. The worst one?
I was saying the worrying part of that, though, as with this Haitian orphan who is missing, and when myself and Mr. Ricardo Makin, our chief photo editor from the Gleaner, when we went down there, this child who is missing is one of those persons we photographed. There's a kind of a blurry picture of him, right, on the front page. And the young man quoted in my story, Mr. Christo Romaine, whose English is much better than the others, he is one of the persons who is missing. At the time, he was saying how grateful he was to Jamaica for taking them, and although things are not necessarily ideal, it's much better. They don't have to be hearing the gunshots at night. So he was the one who took that child from Jacob's Ladder to Bustamante Hospital on a Monday morning, I'm told, and the hospital sent him back and told him to come the next day. He went back the Tuesday, and the child was admitted, and the condition of hydrocephalus, right? Yes, it requires some medical intervention, especially when the size of the head when more and more fluid builds up in the brain cavity. And so that surgery was done, and the child released to him. That since the release of the child, Mustard Seed, Jacob's Ladder, have no contact with him, because of course the child, it's not like it can
Yeah.
being in conversation with the child.
Let me just take a quick break. Come back with you, Erica Virtue. Thank you, listeners. We're back with you on the hotline talking with Erica Virtue about her front page story today. Haitian orphan missing, disabled child taken for surgery at the Bustamante Children Hospital hasn't been brought back to Mustard Seed Facility, Jacob's Ladder in St. Anne, where he was housed. And we understand as well that 10 people who came from Haiti with the group Haiti-Children and who were said to be caregivers, according to the report which is put out by Erica Virtue of the Gleaner. 10 of these individuals are now no longer at Jacob's Ladder. They left there and nobody knows exactly where they are. Neither do people know where this one young boy is who has severe hydrocephalus and had a surgery performed at the Bustamante Children Hospital some days ago. Yeah, so, Erica, this all seems quite strange. And I see in your article where you say that the founder of Haiti-Children, Susan Krabacher, she wishes to cut ties with Mustard Seed and has called for the government to give her license to operate in Jamaica?
Yes, that information was conveyed in the story that herself and Sheryl Ritchie gave to the Observer. So that was used as background information in my story. And I think that perhaps that is where the story really is. That they want license from the government to operate in Jamaica. I don't know the reasons why, but I'm saying if that is the reason, if that is a reason, make your inquiries and see what options are available. But don't tarnish the reputation of an organization that our local bodies have never had a complaint against in the years. You know, they have, I think, nationwide carried a statement from CPFSA yesterday where they have said that they've never received a report or have reasons to believe that the children in their care, were not being properly cared for. But just one thing to say that they have moved, Mustard Seed have moved to protect its reputation now, and especially with the stewardship of the children. So 3 children are currently in hospital. One, I know, in St. Anne's Bay, and I can't remember where the other 2 are now. But they have given instructions to the hospital to, that those children are not to be released to anyone else except persons who are properly identified as Mustard Seed representatives. Those children are to be released in their custody. And also that this missing child, the matter is reported to the police. So
I'd love to understand what are the arrangements, the bases on which the children come and are allowed to stay in the country. What are the conditions, and whether an entity such as Haiti-Children, even if they brought the children here, what sort of superintendents are they allowed to have over the children when the children are in the care of an entity such as Mustard Seed, as you said, which has been established for nearly 40 years in this country? I'd love to understand just the underpinning. Perhaps the Ministry of National Security could give that kind of information, because it's humanitarian grounds on which the children are taken here, yeah?
Yes. Well, what Father Garvin explained to me, he says that the children are in the custody of Mustard Seed. Mustard Seed is responsible for them.
And there should be no parallel organization.
No. Mustard Seed has complete responsibility. But because this entity had them in Haiti, you are not seeking to distance any relationship with them. You give them access and allow them to come and and see the children, which I am told very rare. That when the principals came, they spoke with the caregivers and didn't so much go and see the children. And so people at Jacob's Ladder had reasons to be raising some eyebrows, but really not questioning, because there are a lot of cultural issues here as well. So you don't want to get involved into anything that would cause any misunderstanding. But the government of Jamaica has to be commended for its assistance in taking those children here. You know that the government, this administration in particular, gets a lot of beat up about how it treats Haitians who come here. And at the time, on humanitarian grounds for one, but also as a kind of redemption, they said, okay, let us do this. But we have to be clear that these were sick children. The others who are turned away are able-bodied people fleeing crime, violence, and economic situation there. But I really wish and really hope that the Ministry of Labor, because since they would have come here as employees of HaitiChildren,
yes,
if it could clarify exactly
yes,
the conditions under which they were granted a stay.
You'll make a note of that. Thank you so much. Thank you, Erica. Appreciate it. All the best. I know you'll keep up with it and keep us informed too, because this is quite intriguing.
Yes, I will.
All right.
All right.